Aerial view of ancient Jerusalem at dawn. Wide shot of Jerusalem's skyline at dawn. Ground level view of Jerusalem's main gate. Crowds.
I am David, son of Jesse, king of Israel. But before I was a king, I was a shepherd. And always I've been a man after God's own heart. This is the story of a day that changed everything. The day I danced for the Lord.
Remember, children, true worship comes from the heart, not from outward appearances.
If only I had fully understood those words then. You see, I was about to learn that lesson in the most unexpected way.
Your Majesty, the Ark's return must be handled with utmost decorum. As king, you must set an example of reverence and dignity.
Of course, the Ark is holy. It deserves our highest respect.
But even as I agreed, something in my heart stirred. Was pomp and circumstance truly what God desired? I thought back to my days as a shepherd, when my worship was nothing but a simple song under the stars. Had I lost touch with that purity? David touching ornate carvings on throne, David adjusting crown before mirror, close-up of David's hands on wooden flute. In that moment, I saw beyond my royal duties. I saw a child of God in need. David swiftly moving through opulent palace.
Thank you, Your Majesty. May God bless you for your kindness.
And you, my good woman. We all serve the same God, after all.
My king, the Ark approaches. It will be at the gates within the hour.
Prepare the city for celebration. Today, God's presence returns to us.
As excitement coursed through me, I glanced down at my royal robes, and for the first time I wondered, was this truly how I should greet the Lord? The stage was set, the city was ready, but was I? Michal watching disapprovingly from palace window, Michal turning away from window, conflicted.
This celebration, it lacks the proper solemnity for such a holy occasion.
Indeed, the king should know better. The Ark of the Covenant is not some common object to be paraded about. Wide shot of city gates, Ark approaching.
The stage was set, the city was ready, but was I? As the Ark approached, I felt the weight of my crown, the expectations of my people, and the stirring in my heart. In that moment, I had to choose. Would I be the king they expected, or the worshipper God desired? As I stood there, caught between duty and desire, I felt the weight of my crown more than ever before. The cool metal pressed against my brow, a constant reminder of who I was supposed to be.
How can I greet the Ark of God? As a king or as a servant?
David, the people expect to see their king. You must maintain your dignity.
But Michal, before I was a king, I was a shepherd, a man after God's own heart. Does God care for our earthly titles?
You are no longer just David, you are the king of Israel.
This crown, it's a symbol of authority given by God, but today is about God's authority, not mine.
In that moment, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Not just the weight of the crown, but the burden of expectations that had been suffocating my spirit.
Today, I am not a king before God. I am simply David, his servant.
You'll regret this, David. The people won't understand.
Perhaps she was right, but in my heart, I knew this was the path I had to take. The path of authenticity, of true worship. Establishing shot of ancient Jerusalem. The streets were alive with anticipation. Banners fluttered in the breeze, vibrant against the azure sky. The air thrummed with excitement, scented with incense and the earthy smell of the approaching crowd.
King David, why aren't you wearing your crown?
Because today, we're all equal before God. Will you celebrate with me?
Yes, can I dance too?
Of course. Let's dance for God together. Crowd reacts to trumpet sound.
The air thrummed with excitement, scented with incense and the earthy smell of the approaching crowd. And there, amidst the sea of faces, I saw a familiar one. And then I heard it. The sound that set my heart racing, that made my very soul tremble with anticipation. The Ark was entering the city.
The king honors God by humbling himself. This is true worship.
He's one of us today, a man before God just like us. David interacts with diverse crowd.
As I saw the Ark, something stirred within me, a joy so pure, so overwhelming, that I could no longer contain it. It bubbled up from the depths of my being, demanding expression, and so I began to dance. Not as a king, not as David, son of Jesse, but as a man overcome with love for his God. In that moment, nothing else mattered. David begins to dance before the Ark, close-up of David, lost in worship. Tracking shot of David dancing, David's hands raised in worship.
This is unseemly for a king. He's making a spectacle of himself.
But look at the people. They're joining him in worship.
In that moment, I felt closer to God than ever before. The boundaries between heaven and earth seemed to blur, and I danced with all my might, my heart overflowing with gratitude and love. I've never felt anything like it before or since. It was as if my very soul was on fire with love for God, and then something miraculous happened. The people They joined me. It wasn't just my dance anymore, it was ours.
Look at our king. He dances for God like David the shepherd boy.
Praise the Lord, our King shows us true worship. Montage of David's passionate dance. Michael watches disapprovingly from palace window.
This is unseemly for a king. He's making a spectacle of himself.
The Ark deserves reverence, not this display. Ark reaches destination, celebration slows, old priest reacts with mixed emotions.
How the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, disrobing in the sight of his servants' female slaves like some vulgar person might do.
Michal,
Your Majesty, this behavior is unbecoming of your station. You've shamed the monarchy and offended God.
In that moment, I felt utterly alone. The euphoria of the dance faded, replaced by a crushing weight of doubt. Young boy reacts with innocent confusion. The weight of my actions, the judgment of the people, it all bore down on me. I had never felt so vulnerable, so exposed.
Lord, have I failed you? Was my worship too much or not enough?
But even in that dark moment, something inside me knew that what I had done was right, that somehow this was exactly what God wanted from me. Little did I know, this moment of despair was about to give way to a revelation that would change everything. Wide shot of temple, David rises. Advisor reacts with grudging respect. In that moment of solitude, I found my strength again. I knew that my dance, my worship was pure, and I was ready to face whatever came next.
Temple interior, golden light, ark visible.
In that moment of despair, when all seemed lost, I felt a change in the air. It was as if the very atmosphere in the temple shifted, and then I felt it. A presence so powerful, so overwhelming, that it took my breath away.
Lord, is that you?
In that moment I understood my dance, my worship. It wasn't about what others thought, it was about my heart, laid bare before God.
I will become even more undignified than this if it means honoring God.
Those words, they came from a place deep within me, a place of truth, of unwavering faith. Temple steps with diverse crowd, temple exterior, grand facade, expectant crowd.
People of Jerusalem, hear me. Today we welcome the Ark of God into our city. Some of you may have been shocked by my behavior. You may have thought it undignified for a king, but I tell you this, before I am a king, I am a servant of the Most High God. Do you remember how we danced earlier?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And did you worry about how you looked, or did you just dance with all your heart?
I just danced. It was fun.
That's what God wants from us. Not our dignity, not our composure, but our hearts.
I could see it in their eyes, understanding, acceptance, and something more, inspiration.
From this day forward, let us worship God not just with our words, but with our whole beings. Let us dance, let us sing, let us lay ourselves bare before Him. Crowd erupts in joyous celebration, Jerusalem at sunset, city glowing.
As the day drew to a close, I realized that this wasn't just about me. It was about a kingdom learning to worship with authenticity. Michal in shadows, conflicted emotions. Old priest smiles approvingly among people that day. We all learned what it truly means to be undignified for God. And in that undignified state, we found our truest dignity. The end. In golden Hebrew-style letters fade to black.
The day after the celebration, the streets of Jerusalem were abuzz with stories of the king's unashamed worship. Merchants, artisans, and common folk alike spoke of the profound moment when David danced before the Ark of God. Did you see how the king danced with all his might? It was as if he was one of us, not a king. Yes, it made me feel like I could worship freely too, without fear of judgment. If the king can lay aside his dignity, then what are we holding on to? You're right, maybe it's time we all worship with a little more heart and a little less pride. Look at me, I'm King David, I'm dancing for the Lord. The priests too felt the shift. Their rituals became more than just tradition, they became acts of heartfelt devotion. The young priest whispered, "Lord, let my worship be as pure and unashamed as King David's." Even Michal, who had been conflicted, began to see the beauty in David's unashamed worship. She saw how it brought the community closer to God and to each other. And so, the ripple effect of David's dance spread throughout the kingdom. It wasn't just a moment of celebration, it was a catalyst for a deeper, more authentic worship. The people of Jerusalem learned that true worship isn't about appearances or status. It's about a heart fully surrendered to God. And as David looked out over his city, he knew that this was just the beginning. A community transformed by unashamed worship would continue to grow in faith and unity, to be continued, fade to black. Ancient scrolls being unrolled. Close-up of Hebrew text. David's dance before the Ark of the Covenant was not just an isolated event. It held deep historical and cultural significance. A scholarly setting, books and artifacts on a table. To understand this, we spoke with historians and religious scholars. A historian in a library, speaking historian, David's dance was a radical departure from the reserved and dignified behavior expected of a king. A religious scholar in a study, speaking religious scholar. In ancient Israel, dance was a common form of worship, but for a king to engage in such an unrestrained manner was groundbreaking. Ancient temple ruins, panning shot, it showed that before God, even a king is just another worshiper. Ancient temple ruins, panning shot. David's act of worship also had a lasting impact on the religious practices of his time and beyond. An expert in front of a historical site, speaking expert, David's dance set a precedent for future generations. Images of modern worship practices, diverse groups. It showed that worship could be both solemn and joyous, creating a more holistic approach to connecting with the divine. Images of modern worship practices, diverse groups. Today, the legacy of David's dance can be seen in the diverse ways people worship around the world. A modern-day religious service, people dancing from traditional rituals to contemporary expressions of faith. The spirit of unashamed worship lives on. A theologian in an office, speaking theologian. David's dance reminds us that worship is not confined to a single form or tradition. A montage of historical and modern worship scenes. It's an expression of our innermost devotion, a celebration of our relationship with God. A montage of historical and modern worship scenes. And so the story of David's dance continues to inspire and transform. It teaches us that true worship transcends time and culture, uniting us in our shared pursuit of the divine. Sunset over Jerusalem, a peaceful ending. As we reflect on this powerful legacy, we are reminded that worship, in its purest form, is a heartfelt dance before the Lord. To be continued. In golden Hebrew-style letters, fade to black, a close-up of a harp, gentle strumming. As we delve deeper into the story of David's dance, we uncover the personal reflections of David and those closest to him. A dimly lit room, David sitting in contemplation, David's journal. In that moment, I felt a freedom I had never known. Before the ark, I was not a king, but a servant of the Lord, lost in the joy of his presence. A close-up of a scroll being written on, ink flowing on parchment. David's words reveal a man deeply in love with his Creator, willing to cast aside his royal dignity for the sake of worship. A close-up of David's face, eyes closed in prayer. David's journal. Many may not understand, but in that dance I found my true self. I found peace, a gentle breeze rustling through ancient trees. But David was not alone in his emotional journey. A close-up of Michal, David's wife, looking out a window. Michal's reflections. I watched from afar, torn between pride and bewilderment. David's faith was a mystery to me, a dance I could not join. A soft focus on Michal's face, a tear rolling down. Michal's struggle highlights the tension between societal expectations and personal faith. A close-up of a priest holding a scroll. Priest's thoughts. David's dance was a reminder of the purity of worship. It challenged us all to look beyond the rituals and find the heart of our devotion. A priest in a temple, lighting candles. Through the eyes of those who witnessed it, David's dance becomes a tapestry of human emotion, faith, and transformation. A montage of David, Michal, and the priest in moments of reflection. It teaches us that worship is not just an act, but a journey of the soul, a serene landscape, the sun rising. As we reflect on these personal journeys, we are reminded that true worship is a dance of the heart, a celebration of our deepest connection with the divine. A sunrise over Jerusalem, a new beginning, to be continued in golden Hebrew-style letters, fade to black. A modern church with a worship band playing David's dance was not just an ancient act of worship, it laid a foundation that echoes through time. A close-up of a drummer in a worship band, eyes closed in devotion today. In churches and communities around the world, worship takes many forms, but the essence remains the same. A congregation with hands raised, singing passionately, the uninhibited joy, the surrender, the celebration of the divine presence. These elements trace their roots back to David's unashamed dance, a worship leader speaking to the congregation. Worship leader. In our worship, we aim to capture the spirit of David's dance. It's about connecting deeply with God, letting go of our inhibitions, and expressing our love and gratitude. A diverse group of people worshiping together. In contemporary worship, we see a blend of music, dance, and heartfelt prayer, creating a tapestry of devotion that speaks to people of all backgrounds. A close-up of a young woman dancing, lost in worship. Just as David's dance broke societal norms, today's worship often challenges conventions, inviting us to experience a deeper, more personal connection with the divine. A group of children dancing joyfully in a church. The legacy of David's dance lives on in these moments of pure, unfiltered worship. A montage of various worship styles from around the world, whether through song, dance, or silent prayer. The heart of worship remains a timeless journey of the soul. A sunrise over a modern cityscape, symbolizing new beginnings. As we embrace these practices, we honor the legacy of David's dance, a testament to the power of unashamed worship. A diverse congregation united in worship. And so the dance continues, a celebration of our deepest connection with the divine, passed down through generations, inspiring us to worship with our whole hearts. The screen fades to black, to be continued, in golden Hebrew-style letters, fade to black. A serene landscape at dawn, symbolizing reflection. As we draw to the close of our journey through David's unashamed worship, we are reminded of the timeless lessons embedded in his dance, a montage of scenes from previous chapters. David's dance was more than an act. It was a profound expression of his heart. It teaches us the importance of authenticity in our worship, a close-up of a person reflecting, eyes closed. In every movement, David showed us that true worship involves every part of our being, mind, body, and soul. A group of people in prayer, heads bowed. His unashamed joy reminds us to let go of our fears and societal expectations, to embrace the freedom that comes with genuine worship. A family worshiping together. David's dance also speaks to the power of community, showing us that worship can unite us, transcending barriers and differences. A diverse congregation singing together. In his story, we find a call to worship that is inclusive, heartfelt, and transformative. A close-up of hands raised in worship. And finally, David's legacy teaches us that worship is a lifelong journey, continually inviting us to deeper levels of connection with the divine. A serene sunset, symbolizing the end of a journey. As we carry these lessons forward, let us remember to dance through life with unashamed hearts, celebrating the divine presence in every moment. The screen fades to black. The end, in golden Hebrew-style letters,